Part of me has accepted what this show is. Like you just said,
Good for you.
The sh-
No, but seriously, I just want you to, if as long as you're enjoying it, then that's all I care
I
about.
don't know if I'd say I'm enjoying it.
Oh, okay.
There's
Pizza time. Pizza time. Pizza time.
You're late.
Pizza time.
Pizza time.
What's up, my friend Alex? How are you been?
How have I been? I have been great, wonderful. Hey, summer's coming to an end. I'm a big sports guy. College football starts next week. Then the NFL starts. Then we're piecing out to Italy for a couple weeks.
Right.
So hit the reset button. Look at wedding venues. Oh man.
What a mixture. I can relate to half of that.
What's that?
Sports. As you know,
sports. What are you talking about?
I will love. I do. I know it.
You and I go to a Cowboys game every year. You love sports. You're like, oh man.
Oh yeah, Cowboys. Yeah, they're a great volleyball team.
Oh Lord. Ed, before the year is out, we're gonna go to some sort of sporting event.
I've been to sports events. I don't.
Events.
I know that's a legit term. How dare you? Oh my God. Okay,
no,
sporting. No, you're right. I gotta listen though. Sporting event. My bad. Okay, sporting event.
Uh-huh.
Good Lord. I know a little bit, but anyways, yes, I don't know any of that. But the Italy wedding planning. Oh, I'm all with you on that one, man. I'm all. Happening. Well, it's wedding season. By the next time we do the next episode, I will have been married. You're coming next week, so that's great. Happy. But you're in the early stages.
Yeah, we're in planning. The honeymoon of the wedding season.
You're in the honeymoon of the wedding. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Talking to you, and we had another friend get married recently. Like, it just sounds like. I literally said this to Olivia on the car ride up. It sounds fucking miserable. To all the guys out there that are planning weddings, man, or guys and girls and everybody.
One to you.
Yeah, I feel so like, yo, don't forget like the wedding day you guys should also enjoy. That should be important to, you're not, it feels like weddings are set up to be for everybody else except for the bride and the groom. Like,
I know. Yeah, it's fun. It's funny you mentioned because it is a weird balance though, right? Because it's for you, but at the same time, the 150 plates of food aren't for you, and you want to take care of people. Obviously, people are traveling.
Yeah.
For your wedding, we will be going to Italy, and you just want to, you want to make sure people have a good time, and you can't please everybody. I
mean, I guess you're right. You can't please everybody, but you want to put on the best show. You just told me there's going to be some fried chicken at your wedding, so bro, I'm in. I'm there. You also told me open bar starts at 4:30.
Yes, it does, my friend.
30 minutes before the ceremony.
I got y'all.
Be drunk during the ceremony. I love y'all, baby.
Look at the dog. Look at the dog go down the aisle.
Oh, stop it. Is that? Oh my, you would.
Oh, maybe I shouldn't have told you. By the time this is out, okay.
Oh, outside.
I mean, of course, sake's got to be part of it. Yeah,
I love it. Yes,
bar 4:30, baby. Some interesting food, at least chicken. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to do my best to take care of everybody. Yeah, for sure. Man, it won't be what it won't be is that that American expensive as shit food that nobody likes. Like, how do you fuck that up? Like you said, steak, chicken. How the fuck do you fuck that up for a wedding? And most of the time, they still do. They still happen to do that.
It's just so I feel like you're cooking so much that it has to get messed up. It's gonna get dried out. Oh, we got to cook it all so good, or else we're gonna get a lawsuit.
At the same time, I feel like they do have to time. It's a weird timing, right? Because you got to cook the food early. To cook that much stuff, but also then it starts to dry out. Like that's why probably the chicken's dry. I don't know. I mean, I'm not but that's probably it. It's tricky. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know, but that typically happens. Anyways, welcome to this week's episode of Pizza Time, everybody. As usual, we're gonna start off with some news, and then move on to some reviews. But let's go over the news for a bit this week. Lots of WB news again. Of course. And do you have it still up behind you? Yep. What the F, Ezra?
Still there.
Although the first thing we're going to talk about is good thing question mark. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe some light, possibly, with Ezra visiting WB execs. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to be talking about the Shazam and Aquaman 2 release dates being pushed. Ugh. God, well, our thoughts about that.
And it got pushed a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that got like kicked to the. Oh, I don't want to say that again. We're gonna dive into that. We're gonna dive into our feelings about that. Who knows? Maybe that's a good thing. I might actually think that's not a terrible move, but we'll see. And then of course, somebody is being tooted around to possibly be the next DC chief, the Kevin Feige of the DC world. And so we'll do a little bit of that talk and see who they found. And then for reviews, we're going to delve into She-Hulk episode 2, and then a little bit of a summer recap for the summer. The summer's over. God, that was fast.
Yeah.
And we'll go over some of the things that we liked, didn't like, and just our over feelings of 2022 summer movies and maybe TV. So that's the agenda for today. Let's get started. Yeah,
let's do it.
Okay, so up first for news, we're gonna start with Ezra. Again, every week now there seems to be there's just another update on the Ezra Miller happening. Really quick, if you still don't know, and by next week, please get caught up because we are not going to keep recapping it. But Ezra Miller, for the past 4 months, has been getting into some trouble. He is the Flash, and the next Flash movie that he has shot and done has been in quite the turmoil because of his actions. Right. I won't go over it all, but he been a bad boy. He hadn't been the best good boy, and but lately he's been trying to make some amends. Last week he came out making a statement to everyone, I guess, that he's sorry for his actions and he's seeking help. If that's all him, great. But who knows? It might be a part of a whole PR stunt. That being said, this week, interestingly enough, the Hollywood Reporter reported that Ezra Miller actually visited one of the Warner Brothers offices in Burbank this week to talk to some of the execs. And now there were no details given out. However, they did end up saying it was a positive meeting. I assume that it was Miller, a lot of Miller going hey, I'm sorry. And then what can we do to help out? Mm-hmm. But that's what I wanted to start off with. And I wanted to get your input, Alex. Is this good? What do you think the meeting was about? And how do you feel about it in general?
Well, I had read something from a Hollywood Reporter that sources say, so this is all sources. Can't be confirmed or denied, I guess. Or I guess it can't be denied, right? But I had read on Hollywood Reporter that he went to talk about the options on the table. Meaning that he was there basically to save face and say, I'm sorry, and I do want to get this movie out. And apparently that they felt the mood around the lot had really shifted, that they were like, we feel like this movie can finally come out. We are going to stick to the release date. We're not going to push it because we saw, you said in the intro, they pushed 2 other movies. They're not touching the Flash, right? And they could have just said, you know what? We'll give the Flash more time. We'll push it till December instead of June, and we'll move Aquaman to June and Shazam to March. But they didn't. They left it the way it was, and supposedly the mood was better. And this Hollywood Reporter article went a step further to say that Ezra wasn't remorseful for his actions, that he was remorseful for the Flash potentially getting canceled. And that's why he came in and decided to start this Ezra apology tour. It's all everyone's going to be talking about. Now, look, I said last week, I think he should still be held accountable to his actions, and a lot of people on Instagram, or not Instagram, TikTok, were quick to say, oh, no, it's a start. And I'm like, sure, it's a start, but hey,
there's a finish.
you gotta fucking get to the finish line. You can't just be like, oh, but it's interesting that he cares this much about this movie and about this character to basically come in and fix everything. So maybe that's a good sign. I hope it's a good sign, and I hope it, it does overall help the movie. Because again, we've said this before. You and I agree. It does suck because this movie has a lot of people involved in it. A lot of people have worked on it. WB is throwing a lot of money at this thing. So yeah, my thoughts are that it's clear that he's just trying to save as much face as he can to get the movie to come out, and this was the first step to it. Again, I do think that it is partly WB and partly him. Like they're working in tandem to release statements to start to fix things, and that we'll see where it goes. But I don't know. What about you?
No, I think overall, I do think that I think here's what I know. It's a good thing for the movie. That's for damn sure.
Right.
I think this whole move about going to them and making amends is great for the movie.
Yeah.
Does this mean, what I'm wondering is, does this mean that Ezra may actually be a part of the marketing campaign and actually be out there championing for the film again? And as you know, we've talked about this before. I told him, I said, I'm like, no way, no way in hell are they going to bring back Millard on this campaign to promote the film after what he's done. I don't think so. But I also didn't think though that it would get this far into Sorry's this quickly. So now that he has,
that's a good point.
I didn't think it would be that quick.
It got to Sorry's very fast.
It got to Sorry's quite very fast, and now I'm having a bit of a change of heart. It's very possible, I think, that they might actually they might have talked about Ezra going back on to promote the film, in which case WB may just be having a bit of a recourse here. So hopefully, maybe.
I wouldn't be completely surprised if we saw Ezra Miller on the press tour at this point. After like it has been the fastest 180 ever. Like this
pretty
guy
fast.
Went from like, I'm not going to report, I'm not going to show up for my to get served my papers or anything like that, to I'm in Burbank, I'm going to show up. And it went from a statement to meeting high-level executives, and literally, apparently, if the article is to be believed, the Hollywood Report article, that people on the lot were very worried about this movie. They knew how much the movie meant for Warner Bros. In 2023, and now it seems that like, hey, now they're confident again. They feel like it's going to come out again, and I think I agree with you. Overall, like that's a good sign. That means I think we're going to see we're definitely seeing this movie, right? It's 100% happening.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 would be, we will see Ezra Miller on the press tour. Now, look, Hollywood press, you got to call him out, now again.
Exactly. They're going to, and I think they should. I think if he does it, they need to. And it's only better for the movie. That's the whole thing. It's like, this is what PR in the PR world, this is the win, right? If he is remorseful, if he is going to turn it around and he behaves,
right,
then then they could really 180 it. And I think it might even be better for the reception of the film than its initial excitement for it, in all honesty.
Point.
Redemption
story. He turned his life around, and now
Hollywood loves this shit.
Yeah.
Whether it's fake, true or fake, right? Like whether it's artificial or if it's real. In terms of the movie, it's good.
Hollywood loves a good redemption story. That's exactly what this is.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's a good sign, 1 for the movie, obviously 2 for the press tour, and you're right. Hollywood press is going to get the chance to ask him some questions. Look, you and I have both been at junkets, and we know they put the kibosh on questions they don't like very fast. So do they get to call him out? I don't know. I'm sure some journalists will try to, but we'll see. But again, you and I have been at junkets, and if you think the questions are well written and thought about before, no, they're not. Everything is pre-approved.
Wow.
Come on.
No, I mean, no, it's just funny. Yeah, you just calling them out.
Everything. This is all a controlled environment. So
but they'll know. That's the thing, right? Is like they'll open that door a little bit for questions relating to that, but it'll be very small. Very, very small. Very slim.
Because if you go, I know you love sports because like we just talked at the top.
Absolutely.
Of the show.
Absolutely.
When players do some sketchy shit or they get in trouble, typically you're allowed to ask about it, but the answer is always it's an ongoing investigation. I can't really answer anything about it.
Right.
So could be something like that, but we'll see, man. We'll see. It's good news because, again, I think this is the perfect segue.
Yes.
DC is pushed, as you said off the top of the show, has pushed Shazam 2 to March, I believe.
Yes.
And then they pushed Aquaman 2 to December of next year. So
correct.
Yeah, they held the Flash in its spot. So that meeting I think was enough to clear the air to make people believe he's gonna walk the straight and narrow for a little bit of time, and we're gonna be good. So yeah, I guess we'll find out. It'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, whether or not for to speak about Shazam or Shazam 2 and Aquaman 2 release dates being pushed, we can't even say for sure if that was really a part of the Miller thing. That being said, what I know it means is that they are 100% on the train for the Flash to be released.
Yes.
That's what I know for sure. 100%. Like Zaslav is getting his wish. It's going to be released because as we've talked about before, it's got, I mean, at this point, I want to say it has like rave reviews. Like people the insiders are really, really excited for this film. Like no other DC film we've ever heard of in terms of early screenings, and I think what that means for Shazam 2 and Aquaman 2 being pushed is that I think they're going to use this opportunity to film more scenes and then tie it in with Black Adam. I think this is a part of, they want to keep the actors, right? They want to keep the actors. And so I think they're going to film some extra scenes to really now make this whole, whatever this Black Adam verse of the DC, this phase of it really sing.
Here's the real question.
Yeah.
Does Ezra, now that we both agree on this, does Ezra stay on as the Flash after this movie?
Ooh. Oh, shit. That's like, what do you think? Go for it. What do you think? I don't know.
Like, my gut says there's no way a responsible Hollywood exec is going to go, yeah, we're keeping him on.
I agree with that.
I think an exec saying, we get this movie out, you get your paycheck, and that's it. We're done. But Hollywood is shitty. We talk about it all the time. So it's a shitty town. It's a shitty place.
Here's what I'll say. They're not going to say it outright right now. They're going to wait till the movie comes out and we hear the reception, and they're going to wait. They're going to wait for keywords like Ezra Miller was fantastic.
Right.
He's the only Flash. He's made mistakes, but he's the only Flash I love. Shit like that. Once they start hearing things like, I mean, because again, the response, like at least smart companies hear they work off response, and if they at least try to, and especially positive response, they eat that up. So if they happen to go, if we as a public go, we kind of forgive them in a bit, then they're gonna be like, all right, stay on. But if it's anything below that, I think not. I think they won't. I think they'll praise Miller for everything. If he gets better and cleaned up, I think they'll do that. But they'll be like, no, we're gonna move this over to another Flash, and thanks for everything, Ezra. But and that's it. And then at the scene here, it's still a win for Ezra because he can have his career back and he'll do other things again. Because that's right now. It's not. We forget. It's not just the Flash. Like Ezra's career is on the line. Like everything about him is on the line.
But go to that article. That article said, people that have knowledge of the meeting said that he is not remorseful for his actions at all, which is should be a red flag. But it's not.
Well, but at the same time, we don't know the exact details of what happened. We don't know the exact details. I'm not saying I'm forgiving him. We just don't know.
No, I shouldn't be burying him because I don't know the details. I get it.
We just don't know. But it's a little interesting about that. But I mean, I think you can both be sorry, but not be remorseful necessarily of what you've done. Like some people just accept the things that they do. It might not, but it doesn't mean that they they think it was the best way to handle it.
Mhm.
But some people just don't have any other avenues for release like that. Some people they really believe for themselves, like
Mhm.
that's who I am, and that's what I did, and that's how I feel like I responded to it. I'm not saying it's right, but that's how I responded to it, and I can't, I have to have respect
Yeah.
for myself. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. But we'll see.
You're
We
right,
don't know.
you're right.
Who knows?
We'll see, man.
We'll
It's
see.
pretty
It's interesting.
It's
Yeah.
interesting
But-
at least.
but
yeah.
but again, in general though, I feel good about it. All these decisions, all these moves that are being made at WB in terms of DC is good. Like
Yeah,
I think they're making all the right decisions here. I think. What do you think? How do you feel about it?
They're making the right decisions as well. Do you want to start talking about the delays?
Yeah. Okay. Wait, the delays we did already, right?
Or do we have anything else to say about it? Because I was going to.
Oh, I mean,
I'll just
again,
go.
no, I mean, again, am I disappointed that they moved Shazam to Aquaman 2? No, I don't really.
I actually
That's
love
fine.
that they moved Shazam 2 because we have talked about it. We've talked about it since day one of this
With
podcast,
Avatar.
2022 preview. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about saying it's going to get absolutely just crushed into the December box office. So,
Undoubtedly.
yeah, you would have to move it. Again, you can't look. I get a lot of Avatar hate. People always make fun of me for loving the movie as much as I do.
Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. But at
Kidding.
the same time, like that movie's gonna make a lot of money, and a lot of people are excited about it. And I guarantee you, if they get the marketing campaign right for that, which Disney's been 50-50 lately on marketing campaigns. But we'll see. Shazam 2 was just gonna get buried because it's more of a niche character. Sure, the first movie got good reviews, but it still didn't make a lot of money. So yeah, I love that they moved it to March. It's a little bit more wide open there. Doesn't have too much to compete with, I believe.
I think it'll ultimately be better for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I
think they had to release it at that time because of the other movies around it.
right.
I think that's really why they had it on that. Yeah.
So yeah, and then the Aquaman 2, like I'm kind of with you. I'm like, meh, whatever. I don't care. Like it says it needs more production time. The interesting tidbit though is that there are several different outlets are saying basically Warner Bros, because of the massive acquisition and merger of Discovery Plus, right? $43 billion. That they really can only afford to market these tentpole movies twice a year. So you're only going to see two DC movies a year for the foreseeable future. Now, next year's different. You have Shazam, The Flash, and Aquaman. But after that, it starts to go like, oh, shit. But that makes sense because after buying that much and, assessing that much debt, cutting down the marketing time and all that stuff does matter because you do, like we talked about before,
of course,
you have to put in the budget, maybe even more to market the film. So
right.
yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. To only go to 2 DC movies a year, especially with Marvel doing as much as they are, you can be kind of like the opposite. Like, here's what our movies can look like with the time taken. And like, you really have a massive opportunity, in my opinion, here to kind of start to make ground on Marvel with the 2 movies a year, not just shoving out shit like every fucking month. I think they could actually make some ground up here. And I don't know. I'm curious to get your thoughts.
I think what WB really forgot is that as much as it makes sense for the DC universe to want to catch up to Marvel and their success, I think WB really forgot that, they can make all other films. Marvel Studios cannot do that. Like they're stuck with Marvel stuff. And I think they should have, again, we all said it, like they don't have to try to catch up. We just want good shit.
Yeah.
And I think they lost sight of that. I think they forgot that, like, they're just a studio too. And they have other movies to work on. And their footing wasn't exactly like Marvel's, and they just had to play catch up, and they don't have to do that anymore. And so with them making these moves that show them that they're not even caring about, they're not really looking at Marvel and what they're releasing anymore, and they just want to do what's best for the DC and that's it. I think is great. Again, it's the one thing we didn't want was them to keep doing what they were doing.
Right.
So straight up.
Man,
So,
I completely agree with that. I think
I love it. I'm excited. I'm excited for them. I'm glad that they finally, got up from underneath themselves and were like, okay, but we're done. Let's restart this.
Not everything Zaslav is doing is great, but I think he's making the right decisions with DC.
Yes. Overall, I think he has the necessary mentality and attitude about it. I'll say that at the very least.
He knows what he wants to do, and I think he's taking in a bunch of different audiences and watching how the world has reacted to stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I think that he understands that because he sat back and watched, he's like, here's what audiences like. Here's what audiences don't like. We can lean into what they like and really start to just fix our studio. So yeah. And again, look, they're pushing out. They're 2 years ago, this team was all about streaming. HBO Max was getting day releases. There's going to be HBO Max premieres. All that stuff is pretty much gone.
That's gone.
Going back to theaters.
They scrapped it.
Faith in the theaters, and that is, in my opinion, refreshing.
100%.
Look, we're going to talk about summer, and I have a summer winner for you that might be a little surprising, but yeah, I'm sure it will. I like what Zaslav is doing, so yeah, I'm in.
And speaking of, again, good moves and more DC stuff. The last bit of news here for WB is that there's a possible new DC chief in the running. Nothing has been confirmed. Right. However, a man named Dan Lin, an executive turned producer who has worked on hits like Aladdin, the Lego Movie, and Hit. This man right here is apparently one of the top runners as the Kevin Feige for the DC universe, as told by the Hollywood Reporter. Now, to be honest, almost when you hear that name and when you see his picture, no one knows who he is. Right? Like the general public absolutely has no clue who this person is. He's Asian. He kind of looks like me. I think he looks a lot younger than he probably is. He just doesn't look like your typical head person at all.
Looks like you, kind of, actually.
That's what I just said. Yeah. Did you not hear that? I literally just said that.
I was looking at a picture and I was like, no, I heard you say it. And then I was
like, oh, okay. I was like,
wait, yeah, he does look like fucking Ed. He looks like an older Ed.
He totally looks like, he could be an older version of me. But Dan Lin, Dan Lin. So, I don't know if there's much to say, but the fact that they actually have, a face and a name to this person to take over this really important role. How do you feel? What'd you feel when you first heard the news about Dan Lin?
I had the same reaction pretty much everybody else in the world had. Who the fuck is Dan Lin? No, yeah, but I looked it up in all the articles. Like you mentioned, Hollywood Reporter. I looked at one at Deadline. He is very close to Alan Horn.
Horn
is the current picture boss at the moment, or he's like creative advisor essentially, and he's gonna work with Dan Lin to steer the DC ship forward. And I think that's a great choice because hey, you got two people that need to be able to work well together. So you have a former boss and his mentor coming back to work to each other. I don't know how much he knows about DC or DC Comics. Again, I think comic books have gone absolute shit in recent years. I'm just going to say it. Like, it has gotten very, very, very political, very stupid. Not that politics are stupid, but politics are stupid. Let's be honest.
Politics are stupid.
Yeah. So, comics have taken a really, really big downfall in recent years. And that's why you see something like the Ripperverse. He's a guy on YouTube. He started his own publication, and apparently it's just killing it so far. That's why you see those things kind of take off, because comics have gotten, well, as Ed's favorite word, comics have gotten woke, and it's really hurt them. So I don't know how much he knows about them, but maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe he's just gonna stick to the older comics. But like, dude, he's got like a ton of tent poles under his belt.
Oh,
dude.
100%. Yeah. I mean, this is one of these guys. Yeah. Departed. Sherlock
Yeah,
Holmes. He worked on Sherlock Holmes.
The Lego franchise of movies. Those things were massive.
Yeah. And he's even got TV experience too, which
so,
is like,
I think this is a great choice. If this is the guy, I think it's a great choice. I hope he can be the Kevin Feige for DC, because they need something to really kind of connect the universes, because at this point, it all just needs to be the slate just needs to be wiped clean.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree. And I think a lot of people are gonna wonder, like, well, I think the important thing is, like, as you kind of hinted there, is like, what's his experience with DC? Like, we know Kevin Feige like lives and breathes Marvel, ever since he was a kid, and he worked on Spider-Man 2 or whatever in Sam Raimi. So he had this like rapport, It doesn't seem like Mr. Lin has the same thing.
Right.
I would assume that maybe might worry people, but I agree with you. You don't necessarily need to be the freaking Star Wars level fan in order to necessarily put to make great stuff for a franchise. I think it takes intuition in a general sense, and he clearly has that. He clearly has been a part of incredible movies that we've loved behind the scenes, and now the only difference is that he's in the front. And so I guess we'll see. We don't know. I can't say if it's going to be great, but it's a good move, right? Like, they have a Kevin Feige. Like, that's always great. They have a Kevin Feige.
Literally stole the words from my mouth, which you always do. But like, they have a Kevin Feige now. If he's the guy, great. Now you at least have someone there. Before, people are like, oh, it's Zack Snyder. Oh, maybe it's kind of Chris Nolan. Chris Nolan never wanted to fucking do that.
No. No.
Yeah, come on.
Do you remember that time? They totally wanted him to be the head. They're like, please, you just gave us the Dark Knight. Like,
thanks.
You need to do this. And he's like, nah, I don't really want to.
Chris Nolan is like, by the way, Chris Nolan's he's not a comic book fan. Like,
no, he doesn't know.
The dude just totally shit on Dick Grayson, most people's top sidekick of all time. And,
Robin,
so disrespected. He was just like, my movies, Dick Grayson doesn't belong in my movies. Like, I remember he had a quote like that once. So
I mean, he was right, but he was right. I mean, you see?
Okay, really? He was right? And then you put some guy named Drake, whatever, and you should use your middle name?
Robin? What was his name? I forgot. What was it? I forgot it.
I can't even remember his name.
Yeah.
Drake? I think it was Drake. No, I don't think it
I actually, if anything about the Dark Knight Rises, like, I don't think it's a breaker, obviously, but that wasn't necessary at all. Just the idea that they could have taken out that scene and just shown him at the end taking up the mantle, and we could have all just maybe that's Robin, maybe he's just Batman. Like that I think that vagueness would have been better than that scene where he goes, oh, Robin. That actually felt very un-Nolan like.
Yeah.
That felt very him, trying to please comic book lovers, and he didn't have to do that ever, because he had his own vision and it worked. So that scene felt very like, okay, really, Nolan? Like, you didn't.
Here's a hot take for you. If I could never watch The Dark Knight Rises again, I'd be completely fine. I hated that movie. I hated that movie. I hated it so much. Like, The Dark Knight was amazing, and then The Dark Knight Rises. Maybe you can convince me one day on this podcast, but I
mean, probably I don't love it that much that I feel like you're wrong or anything. Yeah. I do like it a lot, though. I think it's still a strong. I still think it's a strong film as a film. But if you want to like talk about how it comes up with the Dark Knight and like all that, I'll give it to you. Like, it's definitely nowhere near the Dark Knight or Batman Begins. The story is nowhere near as good. Right. That being said, I mean, come on. I mean, Bane is great. I love the set pieces are still really strong. Like, there's a lot of moments there that I still think are really great. But no, I mean, I could totally toss The Dark Knight Rises into fire and I'd be okay with it. But I would not say the same for The Dark Knight or Batman Begins. Like, I could not do that.
Batman
Begins but Dark Knight Rises, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like,
it's fine.
I could even argue with somebody on which is a better movie, Batman Begins or The Dark Knight.
I don't think I could argue that, but
I can make
I
the argument that
somewhat
Batman Begins is
for
a
sure.
better film.
I'd love to hear that. We should get someone on the podcast who could probably argue for it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're wrong. I just like The Dark Knight better. But I just don't think you're wrong. But it'd be nice to have someone who feels like you're actually wrong. Like, oh fuck you, Batman Begins is nowhere near as good as The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I agree. Gotta get somebody that can like
I totally get it.
Debate us since we agree so much.
Casting call. Anybody who just
actually I don't
feels
think you're gonna agree with my She-Hulk 2 episodes. My episode 2.
Oh yeah. Really?
We haven't talked about it.
Well then speaking of great transition.
What a transition.
What a transition.
That's it?
I think that's it. There's anything else on Dan Lin?
Nope,
I think that's it.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty much it. Let's see what he does. I mean, well, he's not official yet. I just want to make that sure.
Right.
That it's speculation, but we'll see.
Okay.
Anyways, let's move on then to our review section of our today's show. And let's talk She-Hulk episode 2. We'll start off with She-Hulk episode 2, and then we'll move on to our little summer recap. But let's start off with She-Hulk episode 2. And just to give a recap about our feelings about She-Hulk so far with episode 1 last week, we talked about it. I think we were both like not
it's
super
fine.
It's fine to I didn't like it for sure.
You've been more on the I don't like this.
Yeah, and the more that I think about it, the more I'm like it keeps melting. I don't like the episode. I don't, and her monologue irks me more and more every time I try to reason it out. I don't like. I just but we don't have to keep going.
I actually agree, yo.
Remember,
I was a proponent. I was like, hey, that's not completely false when she's talking about it, and then
no, it's not.
I started to think about it, and I'm like, oh fuck, I guess.
But again, you have to put it in terms of who she's fucking talking to.
Right.
It's who she's talking
That's the problem.
to.
Yes.
If she was talking to her best friend, okay, yeah. I mean that seems like a natural conversation to have, and I would probably give it like yeah, okay, you would say those things to your best friend, whatever.
Right.
But she's talking to fucking Bruce, the Hulk,
the guy that put a bullet in his head. And the other guy spit the shell out. Like, what do you mean?
I have it harder than you?
No, you don't have it harder than him. You have
no, you don't. Yeah, see, that's the thing that really bothers me is that she said, I do it. What did she say? I do it. I hold my anger infinitely more than you, or have it hard. She's insinuating that it's harder for her. Like, I'm like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, it just wasn't, Jennifer. Yeah. And then fucking Hulk's just there going like this.
We'll have to talk about some point. Not today, but at some point, the character assassination Marvel has pulled on the Hulk.
It's been kind of character assassinating a lot of our old friends in favor of these new ones, and they're sort of woke.
Even Captain America.
It's gross
for Anthony Mackie, and like, don't get me wrong, I like the choice of Anthony Mackie being Captain.
I do too. I do too.
Do I think Bucky's a better fit? Kind of, but I can understand why this is the right choice. Hey, and Bucky's still around.
And in the comics, that happened, so that's fine.
Yeah, like the character assassinations of all these characters in favor of newer characters. It's just not the way to do it.
Of course not.
But that's not a topic for today. That's not a topic for today.
It's not a topic for today. We can have a She-Hulk retrospective once it's all done, because I'm sure there will be more.
You know what? I'm looking forward to the most in Italy?
What's that?
I don't have to watch She-Hulk for 2 weeks.
This is the guy that was like, I just want me some Daredevil. Where's the Daredevil cameo? Yeah, but I think you're only saying that, to be fair, because episode 2, which came out this past week, didn't help even a little bit, I think. Right. So why don't we delve into episode 2 a little bit here, and I'll just give a quick recap of the app. So in episode 2, it's basically Jennifer. She loses her job at her last firm. Because she's a bit of a liability because she's She-Hulk, and press would be horrible. She may not be winning a lot of her cases because she's She-Hulk. Okay, great, fair enough. She spends about 30 seconds not having a job, and then she gets a job. She's given a job at a new firm. I forget the name because who cares? But they want her to take. The important thing is that they wanted her to take up a case with Emil Blonsky, who is who was the villain in the Incredible Hulk, the Edward Norton film. But again, Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo are playing the same person, so whatever. So it's also happened to Mark Ruffalo, and so yeah, she has to now deal with this case where the Abomination tried to kill her cousin, and she now needs to defend Emil Blonsky. She visits Emil Blonsky, who is in prison, that same prison we saw in Shang-Chi for a little bit of a spec.
Yeah.
And she basically, after that, goes to Bruce asking if she should take the case, and Bruce says yes. So that's or go ahead. Did I mess that up? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, she says she's going to take. She calls Bruce to let him know she's already decided to take the case. She didn't.
Oh, okay, right. Or she didn't. Correct.
No.
Women don't have to ask him.
No, in this world, they don't ask anything.
You're right. I am so sorry. They don't. Yeah, you're right. Women don't need to ask for permission. They just do whatever the hell they want. That's fine. That means, I mean, she at least called them, so that's nice. Anyways, okay, so that's the recap of She-Hulk episode 2. Again, I'll start with you, Alex. But overall, I mean, again, just for me, I know what the show is now, and if it's any indication of like the quality of the writing and the lack of writing or the lack of screenplay, I'm getting off the wagon now a little bit. And so, anyways, let's start with you. What did you think of episode 2? How did it make you feel?
So to start, I didn't hate episode 2. Actually. Okay. I was like, oh, you know what? This is fine. Part of me has accepted what this show is. Like you just said. Good for you.
No, but seriously, I just want you to, as long as you're enjoying it, then that's all I care about.
I don't know if I'd say I'm enjoying it.
Oh, okay.
There's been parts where I laughed, like, where Josh Segura, by the way, Josh Segura, I believe that's his name. The guy who comes in and says, here's a map of where to poop, the cleanest bathroom or quietest bathroom of where to poop. I laughed at
the white dude, the white friend?
Yeah.
I don't know who Josh Segura is. He a comedian? I don't know who he is.
No, that's Tom Segura.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't. You say his name like like people should know him.
He's the white dude who comes in. He's got the beard and says, "I'm also in the superhero division."
But he's not like some big actor that I think I missed or anything. So okay. You just happen to know his name.
His biggest role, Josh Segura. If you don't know who he is,
no offense, Josh.
Prometheus on Arrow, season 5 or 6. I can't remember which one, but season 5 of Arrow is the greatest season of all time because of him. He plays this guy who you think is a friend, then you find out he's the bad guy. Spoiler alert. So sorry. Ooh. And he has the greatest line I've ever heard spoken in any villain ever. He literally looks at Oliver Queen, Stephen Amell, and goes, "I'm 10 steps ahead, and you haven't even figured out what game we're playing yet." And I was like,
damn,
oh, that is fucking sick.
I like that.
The whole reveal was crazy. Like, yeah, so he was this really, really kind of menacing
guy. I like
guy.
that.
Dude, that was the CW. Slick. That is the best written line the CW has ever had. But this reminds me of a CW show. What a sight.
Oh no!
So, like, there's parts I like, and you're like, wow.
Okay.
Just to give credit to CW. I stuck with the Flash for like 4 or 5 seasons, until
that's pretty good, man.
Basically, until I realized they're never gonna let Barry be the fucking hero in this show. It's always gonna be Barry. Never saved the day in any of the seasons. It was always his best friend or his wife Iris saved the day one time. It's just like, why can't you just let Barry be Barry? That's what this show is. With that said, I didn't totally hate the episode. I do think there's more bad editing when they're at the dinner table, which we got called out for it. Which one guy thinks he's like, oh, it literally doesn't break the 180 rule. If you change directions in a shot without being composed, you breaking the 180 rule. It's not like, oh, it's just 180. No, it's more than that, bro.
Yeah,
like you don't know where the action is, which means you don't know where you're looking at. That's breaking the 180 rule.
Your orientation's off. Yeah,
your
completely.
Orientation's off. You're going this way in one shot, and then the next you're going this way. You don't know what the fuck is happening. That's breaking the 180 rule.
Right.
But I digress. Fuck you. Anyway. No, some of the comments were pretty funny. Anyway.
They're pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's a comment section.
So like there's this scene when they're all at the dinner table. They're all sitting there. She has her jacket on the entire time. And The final shot of the scene, the jacket's off and the shirt kind of looks different. And I'm just like, this is more poor execution. And that to me is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like when I say that when I call out bad editing or anything like that, I just mean that Marvel's been so good at something for so long and they've really, really, crossed their T's and dotted their I's and really followed through on stuff. And on this show, it just doesn't feel like it. They're even trying. They're just in cruise control going down. And that's my biggest problem with this show is that it's lazy. Like the execution is lazy. Like she has that whole inner monologue. And this is coming from someone that didn't hate the episode, by the way. So she has the whole inner monologue where she goes, oh God, they're going to think I only got this job because I'm She-Hulk. You did only get this job because you're She-Hulk.
That's literally it.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, yes, that's why you got the job, lady. So I understand you want to be grumpy about it. Grumpy's probably not the right word, but you're going to be grumpy about it. So, like, either the writers at that moment in time, Ed, could have the chance to say, "Hey, I'm going to quit. I'm going to make my own way," but she doesn't. She takes the job. She takes the easy way out. Like, or, you could have some sort of other inner monologue. We're saying that I'm going to prove myself, that I didn't, that even though I did get this job because of this, I will be the greatest lawyer they've ever seen. But you don't get that.
No.
It's just, I don't know. This is coming from someone that didn't hate the episode. I didn't hate the episode. I had some funny moments in it. Bruce is off to Sakaar. That's effing epic.
So this World War Hulk thing might be happening.
World War Hulk, I think, is happening. I hope it's as great as it can be, and I hope, as I said, the character assassination on Hulk stops here. I hope it does, but we'll see. But other than that, my overall thoughts was it was a fine episode of ABC television. I mean, that's what it was. It's a fine episode of ABC television. You have to put yourself into mindset that this is a 30-minute sitcom. It's not trying to be a Marvel product. Again, the thing that bugs me the most about it is the execution. It's just poorly executed in almost every facet. And that is where I can't get on board with it as much. But you go.
No, I couldn't.
I really didn't like it.
Yeah, I continue not to care for this. I want to keep playing my apathy card towards it because, again, you put it correctly. I think it's just poor filmmaking. Like, it's not a show. I don't feel like it's a show. It's just a message that needs to be translated into a bunch of scenes.
Yeah.
And that's the medium they were forced to do it.
Yes.
That's how it feels like.
Wait. I'm gonna let you go, but before you do, doesn't it feel like this show was meant to be like all these writers got into a room and they really wanted to do a funny comedy about a lawyer living in the 21st century, and they could never get the show on board, but somehow, some way, they're like, oh fuck, we got hired to this Marvel show, we're just gonna do that. Doesn't it feel like that?
Absolutely, 100%. The writer, all the upper filmmakers involved I feel like they're writing for a completely different project.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be that She-Hulk really kind of fits what they wanted to do. And 100%. Again, the film, I don't see filmmaking here at all on almost any level. And on top of that, the writing can't even show up to the gate to even be there in a way that makes sense at all, or to be at the very least interesting. I mean, again, what happens in this episode? It makes sense. It makes absolute sense that she loses her job because she could be a liability. That's actually makes a lot of sense, and that's crushing. That's crushing for her to have to put up with that. That sucks because all she wanted to be was a lawyer. All she said in episode 1 is, "I don't want to be a Hulk. I want to be a lawyer." Right. So that whole thing is great, and I thought that made sense.
Right.
But it gets rebounded in literally 2 minutes. There's a short montage where she tries to go to other law firms and she's down in her luck, and then the next scene she goes to a bar, and then another firm just offers her a job, gives her a job. They want her, and the trick here is that they want her because she's She-Hulk.
Right.
fine, fair enough. That's also like a little like dicky. But again, on a narrative, sorry, you're drinking water. On a narrative level, that sucks. But okay,
But yeah.
at least it's a dick move. But then what does she do? She keeps it. She willingly keeps it. She doesn't even say anything in that moment of like, excuse me. Like she should have. You want to talk about strong, independent woman? She should have stopped him right then and be like, "Look, I'm not for this." I mean, again, in the last episode, she was bitching about it. She was bitching about how she doesn't want to be She-Hulk. This guy literally serves it to her on a silver platter, exactly what she didn't want, and she says nothing. She says nothing. Like, how are I supposed to get behind this character? She doesn't make any right decisions or anything or at all. Like, she just doesn't even. She's just there. Right. So it's decisions like that where I'm just like, I don't like watching you. You're a weird person, Jennifer. You don't deserve the whole like this mantle at all.
That's the thing.
And so why am I watching you?
Right.
I don't understand why I'm watching you.
So you said something brilliant right there. You don't deserve this power at all. And that's the thing. Like, that's where we're at currently. Obviously, we're only 2 episodes in. Don't come after us. We get it. But if it just feels like the origin was just messed up from the get-go. And the Critical Drinker, if you don't know who he is, go subscribe to his channel.
Oh God, he's just one of the best.
He released, and again, the Critical Drinker, he's an author, he's a writer, and by the way,
brilliant, man.
We're editors with combined 20-something years of experience of editing under our belts. So when we criticize something called the 180 rule or bad composition, we do know what we're talking about. We're not just saying it because we're jerks. But, you know, the Critical Drinker released a video that basically said it's a lesson in bad writing. And we've essentially, to, you know, double down on that, they've created an insanely unlikable character.
Yes.
And you feel
so
bad
unlikable
for Tatiana Maslany because she's doing a hell of a job. She's giving it her all.
Absolutely. I love her. She's still doing a great job acting.
But
I just don't like her fucking
Yeah, like the dialogue is bad, the editing is bad. Everything is just really poorly executed. And again, after what are we, 12 years into the MCU now at this point? It's something you expect to be good. We shouldn't be saying, hey, this is bad because it's poorly executed. Like, that should be the last of the problems.
I agree.
And yeah, that's where I'm at with the show. Like, it is clearly that these writers were writing for some other show and they somehow, some way just landed on She-Hulk. I don't really know where the show goes. I was talking about this
no shit
with another good friend of mine. And I said, here's my biggest worry about the show. Where are we going? What's the point? What's the purpose? She's gonna, like, you can't, like, it's not Ally McBeal, y'all. Like, there's not going to be 26 episodes of this show where she just has a bunch of adventures. There has to be a through line story here. You only have a finite amount of episodes, and it's only one season. Maybe it gets renewed for a second season. I don't really see that happening. I don't know. But where are we going? You know, like, I don't understand what it's going to be just yet. And I think that's where my biggest, like, trip up with the show is happening. I can accept that it's poorly executed. No, I can accept that it's badly written. I can't accept that it's poorly executed. That does bug me. I will always complain about poor execution.
Right.
But yeah, like, where are we going? There's no villain. There's no really no stories. There's no anything yet. Like,
we see Tati. We see this fucking bitch drive through a wall in a like a cheetah outfit, and she's not even mentioned in the second episode at all.
Right.
Like,
she gets like this 10-second intro about this. She's a superhero influencer, I believe is what they call her.
Sure, yeah.
But, like, what?
Why did y'all just drop that in the second episode? Like, she's literally not mentioned at all.
Can I rant for you for a second here?
Of course.
Like, the poor writing here. Have you ever go back to our 2 screen? Have you ever called a woman an it.
And it
It.
like with the no.
Yes, because they're in the bar when they're doing their bar scene. Oh, there's a
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
girl over there. Let me
I'm
go
gonna talk to it. Yeah, that dude.
First of all, I went to Arizona State University, everybody. Probably one of the most sexist colleges in the world.
Yes.
I have never, in all the group friends I've been around, I've never heard a man call a woman an it. Like,
Me either.
this screams like women who actually don't go outside of their homes and don't get hit on. I shouldn't say that. That's awful
Yeah.
to say, but this is what it screams.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it's
agree.
just bad writing.
I agree. I don't. I mean, that was an atrocious thing for that person to say, but I've literally never heard anyone in my life ever talk to a woman that way. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, right? But it's really not that relatable. It's like, I'm sorry, but I'm like, yeah, okay, like if you're hanging out in a bar, yeah, I guess. Like,
No,
sure.
I've never said that. No,
Maybe
I've never
if
been
someone's
around-
I
Listen,
understand. Yeah. Again, I've been around questionable people in my life. I still haven't heard someone say something so demeaning than that, and it was on a fucking Disney show. I don't know. It's weird.
dude,
But go ahead, keep going.
I was about to say we have a friend who, is a bit of a dick, but even he wouldn't say it. Like, what? What? There's no way that's an actual thing that's happening in the world.
I don't think it. Here's what I'll say. I don't think it's. Again, maybe we're mansplaining at this point. Fuck it. Like, I don't think it's that widespread enough where everyone's looking around going like, "What the fuck is that? That's like a real thing." Like people, like it's of course like some one fucking ass fuck is gonna say that, but is it really? Is it really like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like
is that
pandemic.
like seriously a worry we have?
Yeah,
It's
I don't
so
think it
weird,
is.
man. It's just a
Yeah,
weird fucking
it like I understand if it like bothers you, but if you're if you're using it to build character development or something in a show, it's just not that it's like just not compelling enough.
Like,
Again,
yo-
and this goes back to the last week with the cat calling thing.
Yeah.
Look, I've never been cat called before, okay, but if you're putting that in place of a sentence that ends with, I've survived worse than you. If catcalling is the worst thing you've ever, I mean, I'm sorry, but
says the guy who got his ass kicked by a purple alien, and
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, like
you're a
like,
pussy, like for
yeah.
real. Like not because you're a woman, you're just a pussy. Like in life, like get over it. Sorry,
man,
get
I don't know,
over
man.
it. Life's so much harder than that, bro. Like if she could have literally almost thought of any other difficult story than that to throw at Bruce Banner. It's just so poor.
They've done so much to not build up this character, and we've talked about this. You and I talked about this.
That's a
just
great
briefly.
sentence. What you just said.
They've
done
literally
so much to not build this character.
Literally worked hard to do
that's hilarious.
nothing toward character development.
That's hilarious. That's
Like,
funny.
look, again,
It's
here's
next level like negligence. It's like just next level.
Here's another character, brand new to the MCU, who is perfect, can control all the powers, and has no problems. Now, what other characters does that sound like off the bat? And she's only going to get better from here.
Yeah.
Okay?
I know.
Like, there's a fucking pattern, and it's not.
There's a pattern. There's a pattern.
It's not us being sexist, because that's the immediate
No.
response. It's us saying, hey, listen, flawed characters, I will say it for the 100th time, and I'll say it through every single episode of this season. Flawed characters are better than perfect characters.
Right.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
I will. Man, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, we can keep going, but again, I think we've said our piece about what's wrong with the show, and like woke or not, or writing or feminism or whatever.
At this point than She-Hulk. Because at least it had a distinct style and it was executed well. And
I guess.
Hey, it's not for me, but I'd rather watch that than this.
Yeah, I mean, at this point,
that's coming from someone that didn't hate the second episode.
I know. I mean, let's see where it goes. As always, let's see where it goes. If it gets any better, but I highly doubt it. It's just pretty clear what the writers had for this show.
Yeah.
And they're gonna keep pushing it for 9 episodes. I mean, whatever. I probably will not tune in. And that's fine. Whatever.
I mean,
it's just
yeah.
not for me. I don't have to complain about it.
I'll
Just
be
don't watch
glad
it.
next week. I'll watch it next week. I'll watch it the week after. Then 2 weeks
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
Out of the country, out of mind. I'm not going to be worrying about She-Hulk. I'm going to be, eating gelato and pizza. Really. So
Maybe I'll
Not
watch
gonna-
them for you.
no, because you're going to text me and you're going to say, and it's going to annoy me while I'm on vacation. And all I want to talk about is other things besides She-Hulk. Tell you what, you can
That's
text me
true.
beside anything besides She-Hulk.
Okay.
Make it
Fair
cool.
enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
And when
I
I
think
get
that's
back and I watch it, then I'll complain to you.
Before we move on here, actually, let's really quickly talk about the centerpiece of the episode, which
Sure.
is the Emil Blonsky
Mhm.
scene. I just want to get your quick thoughts on that. Like, how did you find Emil
I actually
and
thought
his
that
whole
he
new Namaste, like thing? Do you believe him? What do you think's happening?
I do believe them because I think they're gonna neuter Abomination completely and totally. One of the greatest Disney, one of the greatest Marvel villains, and I think Abomination will hot take. I think Abomination will take the place of Red Hulk on the Avengers.
Oh, really?
Sorry, on the Avengers, on the Thunderbolts, which is getting its own movie. It seems like, look, here's the perfect guy that can take the place of him. So I do
Maybe he
think-
becomes Red Hulk. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
but
Maybe.
I do actually enjoy. He does. If it wasn't so comedic, there was like a good line kind of dropped in there where he says, "I didn't want to take the serum; they forced it on me," which would be an interesting narrative to at least look into and kind of dive into. They won't do it, but there was something interesting in there. How'd you?
Yeah. So, okay, the interesting about Emil, and you brought it up, like, is he's basically painting this picture, like, he's a bit of a victim too, and that's pretty interesting. Again, maybe it's for the trial. He mentioned the super serum and how he was forced onto him, but was it though?
It wasn't forced onto him. No,
If I
wanted it.
remember, he wanted it because he had something to prove. So that's where it gets interesting, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he's lying,
Do you
but at the
think
same
that
time, you're right. Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe
I
there's
mean-
more to it. Maybe they've sort of retroactively done something here.
maybe. I mean, they
For
could totally
Abomination.
bring Thunderbolt Ross as the bad guy here. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out, or I'll find out. I'll finish the show. You won't probably. I mean, again,
I want Daredevil too, so I'm
This-
just waiting for that.
if Daredevil comes in and he's absolutely like just this neutered character that's
Oh,
terrible, I will.
Bro.
I think you would actually have a problem amongst Marvel fans.
Yeah, no, we talked about this before too. Like the whole idea. Now I'm really just worried. I'm super worried about how does Daredevil play in this new proposed MCU where it feels a little woke. Because man, this whole team, this new team that he might be. I'm not saying he's leading it, but it's not. I hope he fucking does because that'd be dope.
I'd say he's leading it.
I feel like he's going to be playing in a way different ball game, a neutered ball game than he was playing in the Daredevil we know and love. And where does this go? I mean, remember, again, if you want to talk about fucking broken people, this motherfucker's blind. He lived in Hell's Kitchen. Like, and he got his ass kicked a bunch of times. Like, he feels probably more pain than any other superhero, physical pain.
It's gonna be so weird.
And this Jennifer Walters is gonna come up to this guy and be like, I hold my anger better than you, bitch. Like how does that work? What is this world that we are living in now?
Dude, it's gonna
where-
be very, very weird to see how it goes through. Again, I have something interesting that we have to talk about with Phase 4, but we can hold that for another week or so.
Let's hold it.
Especially because we got Black Panther coming out, but Black Panther feels like it's going to be the second true knockout of the Phase 4.
I hope so.
Based on trailer.
Looks good.
Based on one trailer.
One single trailer. Yeah.
One single trailer that was probably the best edited trailer I've ever seen. in my
But
life.
we've seen amazing trailers that have given shit movies. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I still have my hype somewhat down, but man,
All right, yeah, I agree.
We'll
All right,
see.
let's jump into the last little recap of summer. How's that sound?
let's do it. Yeah, let's talk a little bit the summer. It's the end of the
Yeah.
summer now. It's the end of August, beginning of September, and that means we've had the last 4 months to sort of digest and watch all that the summer had to give us and bless us with movie wise.
Yeah. Let's
Once you kind of brought this topic up, so why don't you set it up for us and like what the
let's
top
talk
will be
about the
about.
summer recap, guys. It's about to be it's August 28th. It's basically the end of September, Labor Day. That's the end of summer for box office concerns. I want to talk to you, Ed, really honestly about two things: winners and losers. And we can keep this super short. But we can each give one winner. We can each give one loser.
Okay,
Or if you have a surprise, go ahead.
you talking
but-
movies and TV or just movies?
It could be everything, my man.
Anything that just came out. Okay.
So I'll go first with my winner. My winner, and I criticized them way earlier this year. I said they're basically Kodak, that they're gonna go extinct. They're not. But my winner is
Whoa.
Netflix.
Wow! What?
My winner is Netflix. You gave us
What the fuck?
first to start off summer. You kicked off summer basically with Stranger Things, which was, in my opinion, one of the best shows I've seen this year. It's in terms of storyline, it's the same story over and over and over again. However, there is not a show out there that's executed and produced and as well done as Stranger Things. And it was
season 4 specifically.
yeah, season 4, and
Yeah.
it was like, geez, man, I miss
It's good.
shows like this. They took their time, they got it right. Oh, it is really, really good. I loved it. And then on top of that, you gave us The Gray Man, which we both kind of loved for what it is.
Oh,
And
that's
then
great.
You gave us Day Shift, which was like Blade, but with a comedy tone. Dude,
Yeah, it's
loved
fine.
it.
Yeah, it's good. I
loved
liked
Day
it.
Shift. I thought it was great, like for what it was. Again,
It knows what it was.
there's something to be said about movies that know what they are and have no
I
problem
agree.
being that. So to me, my winner of summer is Netflix. I would not have said that earlier, but they had a fantastic summer. These movies are great. These movies were fun. They gave us like dumb action stuff that I really enjoyed. If I had to pick up runner up, it would probably be it'd probably be The Terminal List. I thought that show
I still haven't seen it.
that show was another show, well executed, well done. It takes a minute to get into Chris Pratt's performance because it's Chris Pratt like you've never seen him before. So it takes a second to get into it. But however,
So you're saying he's not great.
no, he gets he's not great to start.
He
out,
gets
but
there. He gets there.
He gets there. He gets much
Okay.
better. He gets much better. And then don't believe the critics, folks. He's not like this ridiculous. It's not this ridiculous like nonsense that has been reviewed like it's right-wing nonsense. No. Give the show a shot. It's actually really well, and it's really well executed. It's done very, very well. Actually, I can give my runner-up to Prime. I loved Reacher. I saw it over the summer. It was one of the best shows I've seen this year. I enjoyed Reacher over Terminal List.
I didn't catch that.
It's so well done. Again, we always scream here, stop worrying so much about the message. Stop worrying about so much about telling a succinct, narrative that you need to push. No, just tell a story and the rest will come to it.
Right. And make sure it's led by white males. That's what it needs to be. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
Day Shift wasn't led by white males. Ed.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. You're right.
Thanks for calling me out, though, bro.
The one Day Shift serious drama.
I just realized that's what I did. Anyway, you can go now with your winner.
Yeah, boy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking with you. Okay, hold on. Now I feel like I need to give something better than the obvious, or like more than the obvious, though, because I think there's some obvious winners.
I held back my obvious winner because I knew
it's a good one.
Your obvious winner was. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Thank you, because there's
Do
really
it.
no other option.
Give it
There's
to
really
me.
no other
I
option.
watched it twice this week.
I watched it. Me too. I just watched it
Give it to
yesterday, and then
Come
I
on.
watched it this morning. It's fucking Morbius. No, I'm just kidding. Oh god, no,
stupid.
it's okay. Top Gun Maverick. I mean, come on. Is there a bigger win in the last, I don't even know how long ever? It's it's Top Gun Maverick. It just came out on digital the other day. I've watched it twice, like you already, and I just can't stop watching it. I swear to you, it's funny, Keisha. I put it on. She hasn't, but mind you, she hasn't watched it yet, by the way.
What?
Just
Oh,
no,
actually,
she hasn't seen it.
My wife hasn't watched it yet.
Okay, see?
Yeah.
We should have them watch it. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, she hadn't watched it. She just saw, like, she heard it blaring on, because I love watching movies really loud. And she's like, and she knew exactly what movie I was watching. She's like, seriously? Again? And she's like, is this like your fucking 5th time? I'm like, no, it's like my 7th or 8th. And she just gave me that. She just gave me that look. She just gave me that fucking look. But anyways, what my point is, I love it. It's climbed the chart. It's continuing to climb the charts. It's just past that. Again, it passed Infinity War. I mean, it's just doing bonkers. And how could I mean, if there was a poster child for the W term, for modern terminology, it should be Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
There's just there's just nothing else that just dominated, shat on everything. And I would, even if there was competition for the movie, even though it's been a bit of a dry summer, it's still I'm confident it still would have dominated.
Yeah.
It's just that good. It's just that good.
So yeah, like we've talked ad nauseum about this film. I had a
it's exactly
poetic moment about it, about how just well it's executed, and it took the time that movies don't take the time to anymore. It's just fantastic. It still remains as, like, I would say it's probably the top 2 movies, that and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Obviously, yes,
those
obviously.
2 movies. But again, those 2 movies are the same for a lot of reasons that people don't realize. There's no message. There's no anything. They're telling a story that they want to tell. That's what they set out to do, and they execute it well. And they make you laugh, they make you cry, they make you feel all these things, man. And that's why those movies are great, and that's what movies are supposed to be. And we've forgotten that. So yeah, I think that I knew what your winner was gonna be. That's why I took Netflix. I knew, because I know our loser is gonna be the same thing. So what a segue.
Do you know? I mean, there have been a few losers. Do you think we'll have the same loser?
The loser for me is Marvel Studios.
Marvel Studios. I figured you're gonna say that.
Has just absolutely I still enjoyed Multiverse of Madness, but on terms of what I was expecting, I was just let down in an insane amount. I agree with you.
I agree with you.
To that point, I would watch Multiverse of Madness on repeat till the day I die if I had a choice between Multiverse of Madness or Thor: Love and Thunder.
Thor: Love and Thunder
was one of the worst Marvel movies I've ever seen.
I think so.
Bad. It was really bad. It was poorly executed. It had poor effects. It had some of the worst GFX work I've ever seen in my life.
Would you rather watch it over Thor 2?
No, I'd rather watch Thor 2 any day, anytime. Not even close. I did not enjoy that movie at all. Thor:
I don't know which one I'd rather watch.
Man. It's so disjointed. It's so bad. It lacked any sort of semblance of a story. Any sort of semblance of a point. It's the exact opposite of Top Gun Maverick. It had no idea what it wanted to be, so it was everything all at once, and it just sucked.
Yeah, it was like MCU vomit. It's just
that's exactly it. That's
like a regurgitation.
Yeah,
that was just you look at it and you go like, oh, that's weird.
MCU vomit. That's a wonderful way to put it. And then
it's just true.
For me, Miss Marvel wasn't for me.
TV shows weren't hitting it.
Again, I get it. It was made for teenage girls, so I'm not gonna hit on it too much. And She-Hulk hasn't been great. And Marvel's products over the last year have just been very, very, very suspect.
That's a really good If anything, that's a great term to use.
It's so
Suspect.
hit or miss. It's insane.
Sus.
Yeah, it's
Sus.
sus. It's so hit or
Where
miss.
the
You just don't
fuck are you
know.
guys doing right now?
Yeah, like
I feel like we're all just trying to put on a fake smile, hoping that like, oh yeah, this
get better. It's gonna get better.
This is what I want.
Yeah, right.
uh,
Oh, no, fuck, this is bad.
yeah, no.
So that's where I land. Marvel Studios is my loser of summer 2022.
It hurts. It hurts to say. Who'd have thought we'd ever say that?
That's hurt.
Like who?
That's hurt.
Marvel has only ever won, and
Right.
honestly, in a lot of light, it still technically is winning. Like we're only part of the
We're
of the
still
people
watching it.
who don't like it. But
Yeah.
there's again critics. There's some critics who continue to fight for these movies. I mean, they're not doing horrible.
It's not that they're fighting for it. Let's be honest. To call out all
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be as
critics, your
nice about it as I
No.
can.
You want to keep your screeners, you want to keep your access, and you know a bad review will end it. You know
Yeah.
that because we've experienced it. We won't go into details, but we've experienced. They will take
course.
away your early access to things if you don't think something's good or if you don't give it a favorable review. They will take it away. We know a
Yeah.
studio that's infamous for doing it. So we're not going to talk about that. But
No, I agree, and fair enough. Like fair enough. That's their livelihood. I know we're hard on critics, and we should be.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's not like I don't understand. Like I get why you're doing it. That being said, I'm going to call you out when you do it. Same
Agreed.
thing with the studios. Like we know what you're doing, and yeah, if you want to threaten these people for what their jobs or whatever because you didn't like it, okay,
Right.
fine. But we're going to call you out for it. So.
Right. Exactly.
You know.
What would your loser be?
That you're right.
Oh, I knew.
Oh, it was 100% Marvel. I
Do
mean,
you have another
I
loser?
could not believe how in the beginning, right before all this happened, right before Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I told you that I was actually having a pretty good time with the MCU. Like I've been really, and I still think so. Up until that time, I was like, I'm really happy with the MCU so far. So
Yes.
like phase 4,
Yeah.
and I think they still brought up bangers. I was very not disappointed until Multiverse of Madness came out, and then I was like, oh wow, that was really not what I was expecting at all.
Right.
And that was almost like not that great. And then
Right.
then the 4 things that have come out, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, oh shit. This is like now
Weird.
this is where like they were so bad that now I'm worried. Like I'm just worried now. I'm not even like disappointed. I'm sweating bullets. Like
Yeah.
what is the rest of these phases gonna look like?
Yeah.
Like holy shit, this is it. I mean, I'm out. It might just be the quickest 180 that I've ever had. And again, the MCU's our Star Wars, bro. Like I'll
Dude.
fight for the MCU. I
Right.
usually will fight for the MCU, but
Yeah.
this shit they've been giving me lately, not fighting for that. Nope.
Yeah.
Can't even do it. They can't even no.
It's
They've fallen
been-
so far from point.
It's been a very weird MCU summer, and maybe we'll get to it.
Yeah.
no, I know we will get to it because I have a new segment and a
Mm.
question.
Oh,
kind of
oh
that
yeah.
we'll pose that we haven't done yet, but
Okay. I'm excited for that. I'm
yeah,
excited
we
for that.
we're gonna talk about it at nauseum because we love that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It might, I'm guessing it's like
Any
something to do with the phase 4 and being what the
Yeah.
fuck's happening.
or like was Phase 4 just in a weird experiment?
Phase woke. No, I'm just kidding.
Boy. But anyway,
What a title.
If you
Oh,
could-
you
really
also
quick.
you yeah, go ahead.
really quick, what would be your surprise of the summer? Something that you like were just surprised by.
Oh, surprised by.
Yeah.
Surprised by.
What's
I
your
mean,
weird loser's surprise.
if you want to talk about what I was I mean, obviously very surprised by, that's obvious too. And that was the Gray Man. I mean, I told you I was ready to give that play it off. I wasn't even wanting, I was almost gonna do laundry with it. I just didn't have laundry to do. So yeah, and then that it 180 to me really really quickly. I was like, this is actually pretty damn good, man. Like this
Yeah.
is actually really good.
Yeah, I loved
Nice.
the Gray Man, surprisingly, as well.
I loved it. Like I had a really good time. I literally sat there and I just watched it for what it was, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that really caught me off guard. Like
Okay.
anything like another surprise. I don't think anything surprised me quite as hard as
Bullet
that
Train
for sure.
surprised me.
Bullet Train surprised me, but
That's
not
what-
as
that's
hard
what
as the
we-
Gray Man. Oh, Bullet Train was
Bullet
yours.
Train-
Okay.
Bullet Train
Okay.
surprised me. I didn't expect it to be as fun
As
as it was.
that, yeah.
I was like, wow, I'm actually having a really good time watching this movie. And I know you
Okay.
didn't love it as
But-
much. It got too bogged down.
Well, again, I loved it at the end. I
Right.
loved the second half, not the
Right.
not the first half,
Right.
but I did love it. But I actually thought you had I think you were more excited to see Bullet Train even than I did. So
I was more excited to see Bullet Train.
Okay,
but
okay.
I don't know. I was kind of like
you were still like a little.
I'm excited to see this just because the trailers are really well done. But you don't really know with trailers anymore. So
You
but yeah,
really don't. You
no,
really don't.
I mean, the worst movie can be marketed the best and make millions and millions of dollars in the first weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
Bullet Train would be my surprise. So,
That's a good one. Yeah, no, that was. I mean, I was also surprised. I want to. You asked earlier what was another sort of loser,
Okay.
and I need to give a special shout out for a very specific purpose, and this is no surprise. I mentioned earlier, Morbius. Morbius is the loser's loser.
Did it
I mean,
come out in
Morbius.
Summer.
Oh wait, what?
We're talking summer recap.
Didn't that come out in May?
No.
Oh, that came out in I'm sorry, that came out in June. I'm sorry.
no,
Never
it didn't
mind.
come out in June.
It
Morbius.
did.
Morbius came out in like February.
April. Oh shit, you're right. April. No, April. April 1st.
April 1st.
I forgot it was
It felt like an April Fool's joke. So
it was
I
April
really
is the April
didn't
Fool's
when it
Day.
Came out.
You're right. Never
but
mind. That doesn't count. That doesn't
You were
count. though.
surprised at how bad it was?
No, it's not
Oh,
surprise.
it
It
was
was
a
a loser because it actually fucking. Oh no, this is why it still counts. They re-released that motherfucker. They actually
Right.
thought
You're right.
that people were gonna come back
You're right.
during the summer to
Yes.
watch Morbius
Yes.
because of a couple of Morbin time memes.
Yes.
You a fucking loser, so I'm sorry. Whoever idea that was, you're a loser. I don't care who you are. Whose ever idea that was,
Loser Sony.
you're a loser. You read that so wrong. You read the cards so wrong, my friend. I don't know
yes.
whose idea that was, but I love you. But
Yeah.
this is constructive criticism. Never do that
You know what?
again.
You're right. You're right. Morbius would be a massive
It
loser
did
of
come out
this.
again in the
Yeah,
in
you're
the summer,
right, you're
so
right.
that
That
kind of
counts,
counts.
That
That
does
kinda
count.
counts.
I'll give it to you.
that's
Morbius
pretty-
was,
that's
when
so
we do our
losery.
2022 recap of films. Holy shit. We're gonna go.
I do have more. So not as hard as that. So I'm
Okay.
excited to keep going with 2022 once we get there.
Yeah.
There's more.
Yeah.
There's
oh,
some
yeah.
there's some movies I've watched that you don't even know I've watched, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if we'll share that with each other down the line or
Yeah.
keep it a
no,
secret,
keep
but
it a
it'll be
secret,
interesting.
Keep it secret.
All right, cool.
All right. Yeah, we'll do
All
it. All right. But yeah, I think that's it.
I think that is it. So
Yeah.
Alex, thank you for another great pizza time.
Thank you,
Hope
man.
everybody else who were listening had a great time talking news and a couple of reviews this week, and we will see you at the next one. Bye.
Later.